It's really something, you know? When you're running a business like you are with Gourmet Treats by Mare,
Right.
you put your heart into it, every single recipe, making sure your customers are happy. It's more than just a job.
Absolutely. It's a real passion project.
But then you go online and it's like this whole other world.
Oh, tell me about it.
It's all start a side hustle
Yeah.
and maximize your productivity, and 7 income streams are the key to wealth.
Yeah. It's easy to get caught up in all that noise and think you're doing something wrong if you're not constantly adding more to your plate.
Exactly. And that's what we're diving into today, this whole hustle culture thing.
It's everywhere you look, right? The constant push for side gigs and this obsession with being productive every single second of the day.
And we've got some really thought-provoking material for this deep dive that takes a look at how this whole thing blew up.
And whether it's actually as sustainable as we're often led to believe.
Exactly. So let's break it down. First up, side hustles. What are they, really?
Well, simply put, it's finding ways to make extra money alongside your regular job. Right.
Like on top of everything else you're already doing?
Right. Sometimes it's to treat yourself to something nice, maybe boost your savings, or just to feel a little less stressed about money.
Makes sense.
The sources we looked at had examples from all over the place, like flipping things online for a profit, or driving for ride-sharing companies.
Things you can do in your spare time, theoretically.
Right. And I think there's this dream a lot of people have of turning a side hustle into their main gig.
Like making money from a hobby you already love.
Yeah, exactly. Getting paid for something you enjoy doing. Who wouldn't want that?
Sounds amazing in theory, but the reality isn't always so glamorous, is it?
Unfortunately not. The material we went through really emphasized that for many people, side hustles aren't really a choice.
It's not just about wanting more money. It's about needing it.
Right. It's often about filling a financial gap. Making ends meet. And that's a very different picture from this image of someone choosing to hustle because they want more, more, more.
It's about survival, not necessarily thriving.
Exactly. And that ties into all those familiar sayings like you got to have multiple income streams or a 9-to-5 will never make you rich.
You hear that stuff everywhere. It can make you feel like just having one job isn't enough.
Right. It kind of implies that your main source of income isn't sufficient on its own.
And that's where the perspective we're exploring gets really interesting. It takes a more critical look and asks, is all this hustling actually a good thing?
Yeah. Is it as universally positive as it's often made out to be?
Good question.
And what's really fascinating is that one of our sources actually lays out 4 conditions for a side hustle to be worth your while.
Like a checklist.
Exactly. First, obviously, it has to actually make you money. Second, it needs to be doable outside of your regular work hours.
Otherwise, it's just another full-time job.
Right. And third, this is a big one, it should use skills and resources you already have.
So you're not starting from scratch.
Exactly. That's a really useful framework, whether you're thinking of expanding your business like Gourmet Treats.
Or even just for personal side projects.
Absolutely. But even with the perfect side hustle, there's a harsh reality we have to face.
What's that?
Making money in any business, even a small side hustle, is hard. And the failure rates are pretty high.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Let's take driving for a ride-sharing service as an example. You're out there on the road, putting in the time.
And you're making money for each ride.
Right. But a big chunk of that goes straight to the platform.
Mm-hmm.
And then you've got to factor in the costs of running your car gas, maintenance, insurance.
It all adds up.
It does.
Yeah.
And when you calculate your actual net income, considering the time you've invested, it might not be that impressive.
You might even earn less than a regular part-time job.
It's definitely something to consider. And what about those side hustles that seem super simple?
Like,
The source used the example of mowing lawns.
oh yeah, I've heard that one before.
Seems pretty straightforward, right? You make money, you can do it on weekends.
What's the catch?
Well, even something like that requires effort. You have to find customers,
Which means?
marketing yourself, putting yourself out there, maybe even going door to door.
Oh, I'd hate that.
A lot of people would. And then think about how much time you're spending building that client base and actually doing the work.
Is it really worth it for the amount you're making?
Right. It raises a really important question. If you start making more from your side hustle than your job, why not just switch over completely?
Make it your main thing.
Exactly. But if you don't enjoy it as much as your day job, why bother at all?
That's a good point. It comes down to what you truly value.
And your time, which is a perfect segue into the next big myth we're tackling, the whole multiple income streams thing.
Oh yeah, the classic advice for getting rich.
Right. How many times have you heard that Millionaires have 7 different income streams.
It feels like it's in every financial advice article out there.
It's practically a mantra. But the material we're looking at dug deeper into that claim and traced it back to a 2002 IRS study. They looked at tax returns of deceased wealthy individuals.
So people who are already millionaires.
Exactly. And they did find 7 income categories. Things like investments, rental properties, royalties, stuff like that.
The things you'd expect wealthy people to have.
Right. But here's the thing that often gets missed. Those income streams were usually the result of already being wealthy.
Not the cause of it.
Right. Most of these folks built their wealth through one main avenue, a successful business or a high-paying career.
So the extra income streams came later.
Exactly. They had the capital to invest and diversify once they were already well off.
So it's more like once you're rich, you can create multiple income streams.
Precisely. And to make things worse, the statistics get twisted. The study found that only about 29% of those millionaires had 5 or more income streams.
Less than a third.
Yep. Most of them, the majority, only had 3. Usually a job, dividends from investments, and interest income. Pretty standard stuff.
So it's not even 7 for most millionaires.
Nope. And on top of that, the study itself has some built-in bias. It looked at people who had passed away, many of whom were older.
So they had more time to accumulate wealth and build those extra income streams.
Exactly. Younger folks who are successful financially usually focus on maxing out their income from one primary source.
It's like building a solid foundation first before adding all the fancy decorations.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Right. So why does this myth of 7 income streams persist? The source offers a couple of ideas. One, and this one's a bit cynical, is that people selling courses or giving financial advice benefit from keeping this idea alive.
It makes their products seem more necessary.
Right. But there's also a more genuine explanation. We live in uncertain times, economically speaking.
Especially younger generations, they might not feel the same job security as their parents.
Right. So having multiple sources of income can feel like a safety net.
Like a backup plan in case things go south.
Exactly. But it's crucial to make a distinction here. There's a difference between strategically diversifying your investments after you've built a solid financial foundation.
And working multiple jobs just to make ends meet.
Right. The second one isn't some glamorous hustle. It's just hard work out of necessity.
It's survival mode, not a get-rich-quick scheme.
Exactly. Okay, moving on. Let's talk about this whole productivity obsession.
Oh, man, the pressure to be doing more all the time.
Right. It's like we're supposed to be optimizing every single minute of the day.
And if you're not, you're falling behind.
It's exhausting. And it can be really overwhelming, especially when you think about everything we juggle in modern life. Work, family, chores, maybe even that side hustle we just talked about.
There's never enough time.
And that's where all those self-proclaimed productivity gurus come in. They promise all sorts of hacks and shortcuts to squeeze more out of your day.
5 easy steps to double your output and all that.
Yeah. And the source we're looking at raises some serious red flags about this intense focus on productivity, especially when we're talking about building a sustainable business like Gourmet Treats.
Because burnout is real.
Absolutely. The first problem they point out is that most of this generic productivity advice just doesn't work.
Because everyone's different.
Exactly. What works for one person might not work for another. They don't consider individual needs and circumstances.
It's like trying to fit everyone with the same size shoe.
Right. And the source actually cites a Psychology Today report that links this toxic productivity to anxiety and even depression.
Makes sense. Constantly feeling like you're not doing enough can take a toll on your mental health.
Absolutely. And it's not just a personal problem. The Harvard Business Review did a study on employees who got fired for bad behavior.
You mean like not being team players?
Right. And they found that a surprisingly high number of them were actually top performers individually.
They got stuff done, but
they lacked interpersonal skills. Their intense focus on their own productivity actually hurt their team's performance overall.
That's a really interesting connection.
It shows that hyper-focusing on individual output can actually work against the bigger goals. And on a more practical level, the source argues that all that time spent trying to optimize every little thing can be a huge time waster in itself.
You're so busy trying to be efficient that you don't actually get anything done.
Exactly. It's like spending all your time sharpening your tools but never actually building anything.
I've totally been there.
So why does this cult of productivity persist? The source points to a few factors. First, Technology has blurred the lines between work and personal time.
It's so hard to switch off when you're constantly connected.
Right, especially with remote work becoming more common. And then there's the expectation that you're always available.
That little phone is always there, buzzing with notifications.
Exactly. And household structures have changed too. Fewer families have a stay-at-home parent, so more people are juggling work and all the household responsibilities.
It's a lot to handle.
It is. And let's not forget about all the distractions our devices throw at us. Those apps are designed to keep you hooked.
It's no wonder we feel like we need to constantly optimize just to keep up.
And then you've got this whole industry that's built around productivity. Apps, books, courses, all promising to help you do more faster.
They're preying on our desire to be more efficient.
It's a lucrative market. But here's the thing the source highlights. Even highly successful entrepreneurs, the people who built huge companies.
They don't actually try to optimize every single hour of their day.
Exactly. And they often have resources that small business owners don't. Assistants, teams, people to delegate tasks to.
So maybe all that time spent setting up complex productivity systems isn't the best use of our time.
It might be more efficient to just focus on doing the work itself.
It's about being productive, not just busy.
Exactly. The source even mentions a survey of UK office workers that found that people spend surprisingly little time actually doing their work.
So all that busyness isn't translating into real output.
Right. And here's a counterintuitive thought. The source suggests that being too good at your job can actually hinder your chances of promotion.
What? Oh.
Because you become so essential in your current role that your company doesn't want to move you.
You become indispensable.
Exactly. And for small business owners, constantly chasing the latest productivity fad might not be the best strategy for long-term success.
Sometimes it's better to just keep it simple.
Absolutely. And I think the takeaway here is that it's okay to not be operating at peak efficiency all the time. And don't compare yourself to those perfectly curated online personas.
That's reassuring. Now let's talk about this trend of everyone telling you to quit your job and become an entrepreneur.
Oh yeah, the be your own boss mantra.
It feels like it's everywhere these days. Start a business, invest in stocks, become a freelancer.
And while starting your own business can be amazing, the source makes a good point. There's a lot of luck involved.
Even for those seemingly easy online businesses.
Even those. Take YouTube, for example. It's pretty easy to start a channel.
Anyone can upload a video.
Right. But the competition is fierce. And YouTube itself takes a big cut of any money you make.
So even if you go viral, you're not necessarily getting rich.
Exactly. And the source highlights 3 reasons why this entrepreneurial push is so prevalent. First, it's good content. People love hearing success stories.
It's inspiring.
Right. Second, online platforms make it easy to spread this message far and wide.
It's all over social media.
Exactly. And third, and this is a big one, there's a growing group of people who benefit from you believing that entrepreneurship is the only way.
Who are they?
Well, contrary to what some people think, big companies actually love the be your own boss idea.
Really? I thought they wanted everyone to be employees.
It depends on the company. Think about MLMs, those multi-level marketing companies. Their whole business model relies on individuals becoming distributors.
It's a pyramid scheme.
Yeah, basically. And then you've got the platform economy companies like Uber and Fiverr. They provide a platform for individuals to create their own businesses.
But they take a cut of the profits.
Exactly. And that creates a kind of dependency. You're at the mercy of the platform's rules and decisions. Uber can change how much drivers earn. Fiverr can kick freelancers off their platform, You're
not really in control.
Not entirely. And then there are all the well-meaning folks online who are sharing their business advice.
People posting in forums, making YouTube videos about their success.
Right. And while they might genuinely want to help, their income often depends on people believing that their success can be easily replicated.
It creates a survivorship bias. We only see the success stories, not all the failures.
Exactly. Now, let's tackle another piece of common financial advice. Don't sell your time for money.
Oh, I hate that one.
It's everywhere, right? Usually from people who are trying to sell you something.
Like a course on passive income.
Right. But the source we're looking at makes a really compelling argument against this advice. They say it's overly simplistic and dismissive of the value of a regular job.
Which is how most people make money.
Exactly. Unless you've already got a lot of capital, you have to invest your time to generate income.
It's the starting point for most of us.
It is. And having a job, trading your time for money, can be a great way to build wealth, especially if you do it strategically.
So it's not always a bad thing.
Not at all. Think about the range of hourly wages out there. From entry-level jobs to highly skilled professions like doctors and lawyers, it's all about selling your time.
It's how the world works.
It is. Even gig work, despite its flexibility, is essentially selling your time.
So the advice isn't wrong, it's just incomplete.
Exactly. The problem is when people undervalue their time, like spending hours clipping coupons to save a few bucks when they could be earning more at a regular job.
It's about opportunity cost.
Right. The source even uses the term sophisticated idiot investor to describe high-income professionals who get caught up in complex investment schemes that might not be as profitable as just focusing on their main job.
Like a doctor trying to become a real estate developer.
Exactly. And then there's the opposite problem. People who overvalue their time and miss out on quick wins.
Like negotiating a lower bill or canceling unused subscriptions.
Exactly. Those small things can add up over time. For young people, the source argues that investing in skills development is a better use of money than chasing risky passive income schemes.
Spend that $1,000 on a coding boot camp instead of some get-rich-quick scheme.
Makes sense, right? And for business owners, understanding that you're always selling your time, at least in the beginning, is crucial.
It helps you prioritize what's important.
Right. Focus on the high-value tasks and learn to delegate effectively. And that brings us to the average age of a billion-dollar founder. It's 47.
Not exactly an overnight success story.
It takes time and experience. So why is this don't sell your time advice so popular? Well, it's often used by people selling courses on passive income.
It's marketing.
It is. And the source actually questions that famous Warren Buffett quote about not selling your time. They suggest it might be misattributed.
So maybe he never actually said it.
It's possible. But even if he did, his advice is usually directed at people who are already wealthy. Passive investing is a strategy for later in the game, not the starting point.
It's about building a solid foundation first.
Exactly. And that brings us to our final topic, AI.
Artificial intelligence. The supposed get-rich-quick solution for the digital age.
Right. Tools like ChatGPT are being hyped as the key to making money online. And the appeal is understandable.
AI can automate a lot of stuff.
It can. Writing content, coding, creating images, tasks that used to take a lot of time and effort.
But our source calls it a grift.
They do. And for a few reasons. First, AI might not be as revolutionary as it seems, especially in areas where the best performers are already doing very well.
Like what?
Running YouTube channels, for example. It's easy to create a channel, but the algorithm favors engaging content.
The kind that humans are still better at making.
Exactly. And dropshipping, another popular hustle, faces fierce competition from established players.
They have better prices, faster shipping, stronger brands.
Right. AI-generated content might be okay, but it often lacks the unique voice and quality of human-made stuff.
So it's not a guaranteed path to success.
Not at all. And the second reason the source is skeptical is that AI's impressive capabilities in some areas, like passing exams, make these get-rich-quick schemes seem more credible than they are.
People think if AI can pass a medical exam, it can definitely pick winning stocks.
Right. But it's not that simple. The algorithms used by professional investors are highly sophisticated and constantly evolving.
Any AI stock picking tool you can easily access is unlikely to have a real edge.
Exactly. Plus, AI doesn't consider individual financial circumstances.
And its data might be outdated.
Right. Reputable financial advisors don't give specific stock recommendations to a broad audience for a reason.
It's impossible to give tailored advice without knowing someone's situation.
Exactly. The people who are really profiting from AI are the ones creating the technology, investing in AI companies, and using it to improve efficiency in their businesses.
Not necessarily individuals trying to make a quick buck.
Right. And the third reason for skepticism is that it's easy to claim you have the secret formula for AI wealth. It gets clicks and views.
People want to believe there's an easy way.
They do.
Yeah.
And finally, the source points out this debate and backpedal tactic that some online figures use. They'll make bold claims about AI riches.
To get you hooked.
Exactly. And then they'll include disclaimers about the risks and the lack of guarantees.
It's all about grabbing your attention.
It is. The bottom line is that building real wealth, whether it's through a business or investments, takes effort, discipline, and valuable skills.
It's not about chasing shortcuts or relying on some magical AI solution.
Exactly. So, to sum it all up, we've taken a deep dive into this whole hustle culture phenomenon.
We've seen that the glamorous image of side hustles often hides the reality of financial struggles.
The idea of needing multiple income streams can be misleading.
Relentlessly pursuing productivity can backfire.
And the promises of easy AI wealth should be taken with a grain of salt.
And for you, running Gourmet Treats, the takeaway is to focus on what makes your business special.
Your unique recipes, your customer relationships, your niche in the market.
Build on your strengths instead of getting distracted by every new trend.
Exactly. Understanding these realities can free up time and energy to focus on what truly matters for the growth of your business.
So here's a final thought to leave you with. Think about those aspects of your business that are hard to replicate. Those are your true assets. Protect them, nurture them, and don't waste time chasing every shiny object that comes along.
That's great advice.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. We'll see you next time.
See you then.